This is part 2 of my recap for Uncle from Another World. You can find a link to part 1 in the description below. At the end of the last episode, Takafumi returns home to find a confused Fujimiya with the elf from the other world. 75 minutes earlier, Takafumi tells his uncle that Fujimiya will be coming over. He then reads his uncle's email, which his uncle ignored because it was in English and he couldn't read it. Takafumi tells him it's a message from YouTube and warns his uncle he will soon be jobless. YouTube changed the requirement to earn money to having 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. His uncle's channel has enough watch time but only 812 subscribers. Takafumi sees that his uncle's low subscriber count is due to his uncle's rude replies in the comments, insisting that his magic is real. Being in such a stressful predicament reminds Yosuke about a time in the other world when the defensive barrier of the sealed city broke and 1,000 monsters invaded. After hearing this, Takafumi is dying to know what happened. Yosuke shows his memory. He sees an enormous barrier surrounding the entire city. The residents become alarmed, thinking he is an orc, but the elf is there and says he only looks like an orc, reasoning if he was really an orc, the barrier would have killed him. The elf goes on to explain that the barrier is to ward off mythical beasts in the surrounding area. Yosuke summons his 2 energy swords, which shoot a beam of energy, destroying the barrier. The residents panic as Takafumi is left speechless. He questions why his uncle would do such a thing, only to learn his uncle just wanted to see if he could. With the barrier destroyed, an army of giant cyclops led by a cloud dragon appear outside the city, preparing to invade. The two assess their dire situation and the elf takes out her legendary sword and prepares to fight. Using her magic, she dashes through the sky toward the cyclops. But the barrier reforms and she crashes into it. It turns out that Yosuke just asked the spirits to repair the broken barrier and they did. The monsters leave, but the residents are suspicious of Yosuke. However, the elf diffuses the situation and in return for not telling everyone it was him that broke the barrier, she asks Yosuke to take her on a date. Takafumi is overjoyed at the result, but Yosuke ends up skipping town. Takafumi is horrified. His uncle fled to avoid being blackmailed by her. Remembering how he asked the spirits for help, Yosuke decides to ask people to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Takafumi thinks it's a bad idea, thinking that the internet trolls will prey on his weakness. However, the opposite occurs, and more people subscribe to the channel, enough for Yosuke to save his channel. Fujimiya arrives and wonders what is going on between the two of them. Afterward, Fujimiya lectures Yosuke about being a burden on Takafumi and how being a YouTuber isn't financially adequate. Yosuke brushes it off, and Fujimiya mentions that Takafumi isn't able to have a girlfriend live with him due to him living there. Hearing this, Yosuke suggests that Fujimiya live with them, but Takafumi refuses that suggestion. He gets a message about a sale and heads out to the shops. Once Takafumi is gone, Yosuke tries to have a heart-to-heart with Fujimiya about her relationship with Takafumi, but she refuses. Yosuke talks about the romances he's experienced in video games, but Fujimiya rejects the comparison. Yosuke leaves the room and Fujimiya feels bad and goes to apologize to him, only to find the elf in Yosuke's clothes. She introduces herself as Takafumi's aunt. She then tries to continue her heart-to-heart with Fujimiya until Takafumi returns home. Takafumi is surprised at the elf claiming to be his aunt. He figures out that she is his uncle and asks why he didn't change his appearance in the other world. Yosuke tells him it is a forbidden magic as you could lose your own identity. Takafumi comes up with an idea and suggests they shoot a YouTube video about his uncle's transformation magic. Although his uncle refuses at first, Takafumi convinces him after promising to play Guardian Heroes with him, and Fujimiya is left confused. As the video is uploaded to the internet, they decide to watch a memory of Takafumi's past. Fujimiya is shocked at the magic, but Takafumi convinces her it's just a hologram projector. It's a memory of how Fujimiya used to bully him. Fujimiya is horrified to remember she was a bully instead of the sweet memories she had. She tries to stop them from watching, but in the end they turn out to become friends. The video finishes uploading and they watch it. Takafumi pretends his uncle is a VTuber. Yosuke is horrified that the video contains no footage of the game. However, it's an instant success, getting over 200,000 views. All the comments compliment how cute he looks. Takafumi celebrates as Yosuke gets depressed and reverts back into his true form, and Fujimiya is shocked at the sight. Despite Yosuke's pride getting destroyed, They get to enjoy a nice sushi dinner from the money he made. Watching another one of Takafumi's memories, he gets bullied by two boys, but they end up getting bullied by Fujimiya, which leads to Takafumi admiring her. However, Fujimiya gets depressed seeing this. Fujimiya admits she was a brat but shows how she became more feminine in middle school. Fujimiya notices her coffee tasting especially nice, and Takafumi tells her he bought a coffee grinder and beans with the money his uncle gave him for his birthday. Thinking about giving Takafumi a gift, Fujimiya sends him a photo of herself in a swimsuit from middle school, hoping to entice him. However, Takafumi immediately tries to delete it, not wanting a picture of an underage girl on his phone, and Fujimiya is devastated. Takafumi gets an alert for a sale on coffee beans and heads out to buy them. Fujimiya has an outburst from the rejection and causes Yosuke to spill his coffee. He reflexively casts ice magic, freezing the coffee but also Fujimiya. Yosuke thaws her out and Fujimiya is left drenched. Yosuke tells her to take her shower and he steps out and leaves some of Takafumi's clothes for her to wear as hers dry off. After Fujimiya is done with her shower, she puts on Takafumi's top, but then Takafumi walks in on her. A stare-off between the two occurs, and Fujimiya then shrieks in embarrassment, causing Takafumi to quickly leave while apologizing. However, Fujimiya hopes that Takafumi is enticed after seeing her like that, but he is so dense he apologizes and tells her he will take responsibility, which confuses Fujimiya. Takafumi calls Yosuke home and tells him to erase his memory. Fujimiya stops him, saying that she didn't mind, and to her dismay, Takafumi thanks her for being such a considerate and thoughtful friend. A week later, Fujimiya reveals it's her 20th birthday. Yosuke shares his life philosophy, telling her you should never give up because things can change in an instant. Fujimiya is impressed by his wise words and Yosuke shows them his memory of his 20th birthday. He is approached by the elf and she joins him. She confronts him about the barrier he broke and, as a bribe, offers her some food to keep her mouth shut about the barrier. The elf then changes the subject concerning how strong he is, remembering how he once saved her from a deadly venom dragon, but he brushes it off as hard work and training. The elf asks if this is how he seduces women and Yosuke also mentions how he killed the blaze dragon. The elf is shocked, especially after learning he killed it without the ice sword. She doesn't believe him but he shows proof, showing her the fire of the blaze dragon. Yosuke explains how his achievements are possible because he never gives up as he repeats his life philosophy. He reveals to the elf that he had learned it from a game strategy guide. Takafumi and Fujimiya are speechless at the revelation, and Yosuke then goes to play some games. The memory continues. Yosuke invites the elf back to his inn. The elf is reluctant but he grabs her arm, shocking Takafumi and Fujimiya. The elf ends up going along with him, and as the two continue their way back to the inn, Yosuke thanks the elf for supporting him through the tough times. She is shocked to learn how much she means to him. They make it back to the inn and the elf tells him she would support him forever. However, he tells her it's not necessary and just thanks her for supporting him back to his room. He locks her out and immediately goes to sleep. The next morning, the elf confronts him and demands to know his plans for the day. Takafumi is amazed at her resilience, but Fujimiya notices her eyes and realizes she's spent the night crying. After seeing this, Fujimiya can't help but take a drink and forces Yosuke to drink as well. Yosuke stumbles and becomes drunk instantly, and Fujimiya tries to bail but Takafumi stops her. Yosuke decides to take her home. He uses a wind spell, causing a huge gust of wind, and the three of them end up high in the sky. But that's where this video ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.